So Wes, some might say I had a bit of a breakdown midweek, but what I'd say is that if it's good enough for Khabib Nurmagomedov, if it's good enough for Britney Spears, it's good enough for John Nellis. I shaved the head.
Yeah, and you're looking good. It's going to be a treat for our watchers when they see that.
That's it, yeah. So for everyone listening, we're recording this on today's Tuesday, isn't it, Wes?
It is indeed, John.
Tuesday at 12, so there still are a couple of games to go. We're still waiting on the results from the Burnley-Fulham game and the Everton-City game, but we'll have a more in-depth, I suppose, stream later this week on the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel, 8 p.m. on Thursday night, where we'll have a lot more information at our disposal, and we'll probably be a lot closer to pulling the trigger on transfers. Today is probably a bit more speculation and taking, well, tonight's fixtures out of the equation and Champions League fixtures. I don't know if any of the Premiership teams are playing this week in it, but if they have Champions League fixtures, we'll know information there. Liverpool are playing actually, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a few English teams involved, and there's obviously the Wednesday Premier League game, so tomorrow as we're recording. But the good thing is just for everyone who doesn't know, you might have seen on Twitter that me and John will be doing a very regular live stream on Fantasy Football Hub's YouTube channel. It's usually going to be Thursday 8 p.m, but just obviously watch out on Twitter in case sometimes it'll be a Friday or whatever. But for the next few weeks it's going to be Thursdays 8 p.m. live stream, and then if you can't catch that, you can watch it anytime before the deadline, and it will still be helpful. So this is going to be, and we'll have more information later on in the week, like you said, John. So it's going to be good. Yeah,
it's great. I like the live stream stuff, because me and you are sitting here talking, and when people have submitted questions, there's less chance for people to kind of come back and call you on your bullshit or come back in and compliment what you're saying. Whereas in the YouTube comments, I find it great engaging with people who listen. And obviously Hub has a big following, so there's a lot of really knowledgeable people around there chipping in. So 8 p.m. on Thursday if you want to have a listen to us talking live and come and throw us some abuse or praise. At least drop in and throw us a like and let the Hub guys know that you like us being there, or both.
And like you said, John, I just want to pick up on something that you said there. It was really interesting. Like you said, the main thing that we're hoping to do is it's going to be very, very interactive. We're going to go there and we're going to answer questions that come in live and go into detail and back and forth with people, and we'll be discussing something, and then we'll say, guys, what do you think of, Wes thinks this, John thinks that, what do you guys think? And then we'll see people in the comments, and then we'll respond like that. So it's going to be really interactive. It's going to be really good. I'm really looking forward to it.
I've just thought of this though, Wes. We're doing this on Thursday nights at 8. The Europa League's back, so Arsenal will actually be playing. There'll be a lot of football that I'm very interested on going on, because I follow European football on the wider scene. Ajax are playing Lille, which should be a good game. Napoli are playing. Villarreal actually play Salzburg, which would be a fun game to watch. So that'll all be we'll be counting that down and talking about that as things happen. If Aubameyang gets another hat-trick, he probably won't play, to be fair. He's doubtful, but Arteta says there's a chance, so it'd be good to keep our eye on that, and we can talk about what happened in the Spurs game. Maybe Kane or Son will be injured, and that'll affect our plans. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a lot happening. So again, we'll just reiterate, we're recording this at 12 o'clock on Tuesday. Should all be pretty good, I'd imagine, but just if you want a more up-to-date thing, pop in on Thursday as well, 8 p.m. And before we get into the podcast, the other thing we'd recommend you do is download the app. The link is in the description for Fanslide. It's completely complimentary to FPL, and it's the world's first in-play fantasy football game. This week, on Friday, they have £100 up for grabs in Watford and Derby. So if you're a Championship fan, off you go. On Saturday, they have £100 up for grabs in the Liverpool-Everton game. And on Sunday, £100 up for grabs in the Arsenal-City game. And I'll just reiterate, it's free to play. Wes, did you have a go at any other competitions last weekend?
Yeah, I'm always on it, so I love it. It's good fun, and good bit of crack. And like you said, it's free to play, and you've got a chance of winning money. So if there's ever a chance of winning money, and it's and there's nothing to pay to enter, I'm all over that. Yeah,
sounds good. Well, look, go and download the app from the link in the description, and let's get into the show. Okay, Wes, we'll kick off the show with some questions. We got loads of questions. You only put out for these 1 hour and 2 minutes ago, and there's like 25 questions there. So, guys, you are listening to us. Thank you so much for the engagement. We called for it last week, and by God, you have responded, which is bad because now we won't be able to answer them always.
I know, yeah. So sorry if we don't get to every single question, but we do appreciate it, and literally every single question has been great. So thank you.
Yeah. So we tend to just kind of go from on a first come first served, or we just kind of scattergun and pick random ones. We're not picking favourites here. Exiled FI, first one at the top of my list anyway, says, are we now talking about Aubameyang for the first time since September?
Yeah, like you touched on in the intro, John. He might. The last news I saw on Aubameyang was that I think he's being assessed because of he got kicked a couple of times towards the end of the Leeds game, where he obviously got that hat trick. But even regardless of that, I wouldn't be looking at him because he doesn't have any double game weeks coming up. His fixtures are pretty poor as well. It was like Man City. I think they've got Burnley in there, who are doing fairly well defensively. A couple of other tough fixtures as well. For Arsenal, so it's Man City, Leicester away, doing decent defensively, Burnley away, Tottenham at home for Arsenal, and then where I do get interested in Aubameyang would be week 29, where Arsenal are one of only 6 teams confirmed to have a game. Tottenham and Villa should also get added to that according to predictions, but at the minute, blank game week 29 looks a perfect time to jump on Aubameyang once the doubles are out of the way.
Definitely worth considering down the line. He was everyone's favourite coming into the season.
Yeah.
Moved to midfield. We all thought it was madness. And now, look at him. He's disappeared all season. In his villa, drinking cocktails. I don't know.
Yeah.
What does he do? Like burning money to keep himself warm. Just having a ball. Doing a Gareth Bale on us, really.
Yeah.
But he got a hat-trick. Maybe he's back. So definitely worth talking about him anyway, I'd say. Exiled and at least on the watch list. Maybe longer term. Yeah,
on the watch list, see how he gets on over these next few. I think we want to be, especially due to his price as well, we're going to be wanting to target in those double game week players. But like I said, in week 29 onwards, that's when I'll be considering some like Aubameyang, maybe Saka from Arsenal, even Smith Rowe for a cheapie, Tierney if he's fit. He does have a lot of injury problems, it seems. But I'll definitely be considering Arsenal down the line. Maybe your boy Odegaard, is that how you say it?
If he starts getting game time,
Yeah, he got a good chunk against Leeds off the top of my head. I want to say around 70-75 minutes.
Did he get any set pieces? I didn't catch that game.
I'm not sure actually.
I'd be interested to know what set pieces he gets.
Yeah. So again, this is a good time to just watch Arsenal over the next few games. The tough fixtures, and they don't have doubles. So watch them, see how they get on. But don't bring any of their players in yet, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just looking there to try and see if I can see anything in the commentary. I'll do that later in my own time. Rich FPL, naturally all eyes are on players that have doubles right now, but are there any teams or players that you've noticed that are potentially flying under the radar? So
in terms of teams flying under the radar, Leicester have got a predicted double game week in double game week 26. It's looking likely that they'll be playing Arsenal and Burnley, and the way Leicester are playing at the minute, I kind of see them having any good fixtures. And then after that, even if they have singles, it's going to be Brighton and then Sheffield United. And Aston Villa this week. So Leicester are obviously, they're putting a really good performance against Liverpool. Barnes on the score sheet and an assist. Vardy on the score sheet. Maddison on the score sheet. Defenders wise, obviously Justin's injured now, so not really sure if I'd be going to their defence. You could probably find, justify bringing in a defender there for sure, but I don't think I will. But I think Leicester are kind of flying under the radar. We're all kind of talking about Aston Villa, Spurs, Leeds, and obviously Southampton have this double this game week, etc. So it is hard to bring in a Leicester player right now because you're more than likely going to want someone like Danny Ings or a third Leeds player or something like that. But Leicester for me are the team to watch. What about you, John?
Do you know, most teams obviously are in the conversation for doubles. West Ham aren't. And they've got Tottenham and Man City here, so I'd probably be dodging them. Although we all have our Součeks and our Cresswell, so it's tough. It is tough. I like the Leicester shout because honestly, I haven't really thought about this too much, and I've just thrown this question out there. I'm going to be wildcarding this week and going aggressive for a bench boost in 26. And my kind of plan tentatively now is to go, to get the 2 Spurs boys in, keep my 2 Aston Villa lads, and add another one. And then other than that, I'm probably going to have a couple of Leeds lads to cover me for 29. And then it's going to be a bit of, who do I want here? But Leicester look like I could be at least getting one in. I could at least be getting... I'd say I'd definitely get Barnes. I'll probably definitely get Barnes. And then
probably definitely. I like
probably definitely. And then I'll I don't think I've room for Maddison too, but I think Vardy and Barnes would be a solid 2 players to have going into like Villa, Arsenal, Burnley, Brighton, Sheffield.
Yeah, I'd probably put Barnes as my number 1 Leicester pick, then possibly Maddison, but I wouldn't maybe. It's probably hard to fit both.
Maddison's goal was a wee fluky one.
Yeah, he was aiming for that sort of near post. If it gets a touch, then obviously he gets the assist. If it doesn't, it goes straight in. So,
but it wasn't a shot. It was a. I'll bang this in there where someone's going to get a wee nudge on it. Like he wanted someone to touch it.
Yeah, well, I guess it's one of those cross shot. What he said in the after match, post match interview, is that he was almost, I can't remember the words he used, but yeah, he was kind of shooting of that area. If it gets a touch, then great. If not, then it's got a chance of going in. So it was fairly clever. But yeah, like you said, it's kind of lucky that it did fly straight in. It could have ended up being an assist, but that's still a return against Liverpool, so you wouldn't have minded that as an owner. But other than Leicester, I do also like Fulham. I've liked them for a few weeks now. They are looking.
Here we go, Adamola Lookman. Here we go.
No. Actually, you've got me all wrong. I actually I've still got Lookman just as a because I haven't managed to get rid of him yet. But no, Lookman's not the player I do like. I like the looks of obviously Josh Maja now. It's easy to say that when he scored 2 goals. However, his goals have been really good from FPL. I love when strikers get those goals because he's just literally in the 6-yard box for tap-ins. Some goals that like I kind of associate Sterling getting. Obviously, I know Sterling doesn't play number 9, but Sterling kind of getting those tap-ins that pass across the goal. And then the other one, he was following in on a shot. None of the defenders followed in. And again, like the commentators say, oh, another tap-in. But no, he's put himself in those positions. Like Gary Lineker used to do all those years ago. If you see all his highlights, they're all tap-ins, but it's not luck if you do it over and over again. I also like Aina, who got the assist in that game. He got a really good goal early on in the season. He's cheap. He's not going to get, a bucket load of attacking returns, but he's just a cheap defender and they're playing well defensively. And Areola. And it's looking like, and the reason I like Fulham is because they're likely to have a double at some point over the next few game weeks. Maybe not, maybe they will. And importantly, they play in game week 29, which, like I said earlier, there's not many teams that do play in 29. So they're good price, they're on good form, they're fighting for their lives, they're keeping clean sheets. Areola usually gets some save points. Played really well against Everton, obviously. So, and they might have that golden ticket of a double and then also playing in 29, because if you take your eye off the ball in terms of game week 29, you're going to end up, if you haven't got a free hit, this is like, me and you don't have our free hits. If you don't keep one eye on game week 29, you're going to end up having a really bad game week that week.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the Josh Maja shout is interesting. It'll be nice to see how he fits in there and how he goes going forward. But I think if you're looking for a Fulham player, he was played out and out striker and he got 2 goals on his, well, it was his second appearance, but his first kind of full debut, wasn't it?
First start, wasn't it? Yeah.
And some of you might remember him from Sunderland Till I Die, if you've watched that.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Great documentary. I love that.
It was very good. So we'll move on, Wes, to the next question. FPL Cantona. If, like me, you're considering a wild card, I am Cantona. Are there any essential teams or players to cover off? Currently looking at coverage from who I think will do well or has doubles, but currently no Salah. Am I a fool? Keep up the good work. And this is a question I wanted to pose to you, Wes. So fair play, Cantona.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wild card and I'm thinking like there's a lot of people I want to get in here. Liverpool aren't playing great. Everton, Sheffield United, Chelsea, not bad fixtures, but not great either. Chelsea look a bit better at the minute. And it's like, it'd be nice to have them, but to really avail of a double of a bench boost in 26, I want to have 15 players that are going to get me points.
Yeah.
I'm going to need cash. Is Salah the logical place to take that cash from?
Yeah, potentially. So I'm kind of in 2 minds about this. So in terms of Liverpool, like you said, aren't playing very well recently, but Salah's stats and actual returns as well over the last few are absolutely fine. Like he's doing well despite Liverpool not doing well. And his top goals. We
actually talked about that last week, didn't we?
Yeah, his top goal scorer in the league this season as well by a good 4 goals. And in terms of double, he's a player that rarely gets rotated, which is handy when the fixtures are congested. You could go for a double. Like, for example, I've got 3 City players in this double game week coming up, but am I confident? Sorry, the double game week we're currently in, I should say. But am I confident, Sterling, Gundogan and Cancelo will play this second game? Absolutely not. But yeah, Salah, it's a difficult one because if you've got your bench boost and you want to spread those funds around, you could go something like Salah to Son, save yourself 3-ish million, and therefore instead of your bench being cheapos, you could have the next step up on your bench for all those sort of positions. So instead of a 4.5 defender, for example, you could get maybe spend $500,000 more and get Luke Shaw or something or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to play this. And Salah's not back those, a couple of seasons ago, like you had to have Salah because everyone was going to captain him. He was scoring 32 goals, 12 assists, and just breaking FPL records. But at the minute, he's a great option, of course. But because of that price tag and spreading funds, you could potentially weigh it up as Salah and 3 cheaper players versus 4 more rounded players. And yes, Salah might continue to score well, but as a process, as a collective, your bench players or whoever, the rest of your squad will hopefully make up for anything Salah gets, if that makes sense. And equally, yeah, someone like Salah to Son or Salah to Rashford or whatever it might be, those players might also match Salah. So yeah, it's definitely not, you're not foolish to do it, but you're also not foolish to keep.
Something just to reference here, we're kind of doing all this talking about double game weeks and planning ahead and who has doubles off Ben Crellin's fixture planner. I think it can be found through Fantasy Football Hub. But yeah, because there'll be a lot of people. I think I even mentioned this, and I didn't let on. There's a couple of people in one of the mini leagues I'm in, and they'd mentioned about, I was saying how I'm going to wildcard into 25, and I think the reply was, I think it was Damien. I don't know if you're listening, Damien. We were playing some Call of Duty the other night, and I think he said something like, wildcarding, sure, there's no doubles coming up. Is that not mad? Or like what are you wildcarding for was kind of what he was saying. And I was like, I don't know. Just have a feeling. I was like, I'm not fucking telling these guys anything.
But you've got to lie to your mates.
You have to listen to the podcast if you want the inside information on my team and captaincies and stuff. Brandy, cough. But it's one of those that's like, yeah, guys, they aren't published on the FPL site at the minute, but Ben Crellin's kind of the guru when it comes to predicting this shit, and he says there's a 95 to 99% chance that there's a bunch of game weeks going ahead. So maybe check out on Twitter, Ben Crellin. Yeah,
so I've just retweeted with a pointing arrow down a quote retweet from the FPL Double Up account at 12:40 on the 16th of Feb. If you listen to this at a later date, find that retweet, and it's the most up to date information we've got. And just to read that out. Just very quickly with the teams I'll just go through the ones who are looking very likely to have a double. So in 26 that is. So it's Man City, Aston Villa, Tottenham, Everton, Burnley, Man United, Crystal Palace, Leicester, Liverpool and Chelsea. But like I said, go to our Twitter page whilst you're listening to this. I've just retweeted it and it makes a lot more sense whilst you're listening.
Very good. And make sure you follow us while you're there. We'll know what yous are like. So yeah, did we actually answer the question there? I think we kind of did. Yeah, we did. We talked about Salah, no Salah. Yeah, great. We'll move on.
Yeah.
There's going to be wildcard chat coming a bit later in the show. We've lots to cover. Paul, Gundogan seems to be the City attacker of choice currently for most people. With so many double game weeks coming for City, how would you manage that situation if he's now ruled out for a few weeks with injury? Would it have to be a switch to Foden, given he's the only one at a similar price? And he's actually went in and elaborated on this in a tweet a wee bit after, saying, okay, guess that question was badly timed. There's been a tweet from Man City report saying, breaking, Kevin De Bruyne is back in full training at Man City today. So he's back in full training. You'd imagine it'll take him a little bit of time to get back. I don't know if he'd be back in time for next week, but I suppose this is the killer of us recording now. Maybe in our stream on Thursday night we'll have a bit more information on KDB.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if he's maybe on the bench for the second game in this double game week. So game week 24, they're playing Everton, aren't they? If he can get 20, 30 minutes off the bench in that game, then yeah, it's obvious that he's kind of back. But I don't know, will he have his minutes managed a little bit maybe? So yeah, De Bruyne is a wait and see so far. And also, like, I've been pretty vocal on De Bruyne this season. Like, he's played a lot of minutes and he's still only managed the 1 goal in open play. He's obviously got a shitload of assists, and I love him as a player. But his finishing this season hasn't been as good. That's just a fact, really. But yeah, I do still like Foden. The thing with Foden is he just seems to continually sort of disappoint. He gets his big hauls when no one's really got him in their teams. Then people transfer him in. He either gets rested or he blanks. Then people get him out, and it's a vicious cycle. But I do believe in Foden as a player. It's just whether you got to have a strong sort of stomach to go Foden, because Gundogan's been fairly nailed on, hasn't he? He's been kind of a rock in that City team, whereas Foden's, I don't know. We literally talk. We basically were chatting about this off air, John, before even seeing the question, like literally before recording, weren't we? And we were both kind of talking at Foden, but now I'm just kind of, I don't know about Foden. I'm a bit wary, and especially now with De Bruyne back, don't know on that one.
I actually didn't realise, sorry, I've just noticed how long it's been since City lost a game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
25th of November, they last lost on the 21st of November.
Yeah, they're on a really, really, really good run.
Jeez. Like, and they've won the last, since, they haven't drawn or lost since the 19th of December, and there's been a lot of football.
Does that include, are you looking at cup games as well in that?
Yeah, Cheltenham are there, there's the Manchester United Man City game and the EFL.
So to try and answer Paul's question a bit better than what we've done, because I've kind of sat on the fence, but I think if Gundogan's out, you're still going to want to. I still think you're going to want at least at least two City players, because they're going to have a lot of doubles and they're on amazing form. So the likes of Cancelo, maybe you could go for the likes of Cancelo, Diaz, and Sterling, or something like that. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with getting Foden. He could do really well, like we've seen against Liverpool. And if he can stay in that team, he's going to be a nice differential for your teams, because there'll be a lot of people like me who are a bit scared to bring him in. And if he can bang, it's going to be really beneficial. But I think if you bring him in and he gets benched one game, don't just sell him because of that. I think you're going to have to expect that to happen a fair amount throughout the season.
It's just the killer. Like, I mean, Gundogan's out, but it's kind of a different player. And I know Foden can play kind of attack and mid, but in that team, with the likes of Bernardo Silva, who can drop in there, we've got Sterling, we've got Mahrez, we've got Ferran Torres, there's Gabriel Jesus looking up top. I don't know where Aguero's sitting with his fitness. KDB's sniffing around coming back.
Yeah.
Fernandinho, I don't know how far away he is, maybe coming into a holding role, but Rodri's still fit. It's like, I just don't think... There's a lot of
players to squeeze him, especially like you said, Aguero. Just Aguero and G. Like, Aguero was on the bench last game, so that sort of hints to me that he's getting at least close to having some game time, and like you said with Jesus. So yeah, there's a lot of positions to fight for those sort of attack-minded players.
I just don't think the Gundogan injury makes Foden any easier a call, is what I suppose I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at his last 5, 90 minutes, 25 minutes, 90 minutes on the bench, 90 minutes, and then it goes like 51 minutes, 90, 31, and it's just like, ugh.
That's what I don't like. I really like players who are nailed.
But the other side of that is, I mean, with Man City and the form they're in, and Phil Foden and the player he is, while he hasn't necessarily done too much in the 25-30 minute appearances he's had, there's nothing to say he couldn't come on and get a goal and assist from the 60th minute on in a game.
Yeah, he's got it in his locker. So yeah, if that happens, and I think if you're going to have Foden for those times where he misses out completely, you want a decent sub one. You don't want to have complete dross on your bench anyway, but especially with if you're going to have Man City players, you do really want that a decent sub one option.
Absolutely. Well, we'll move on to another question. Thomas James says, the best Tottenham defender to buy. Obviously, a lot of people will be looking to go. We're all looking at these fixtures and we're going, geez, Spurs have a fixture in 29 and they've also got a double game week. I need triple Spurs. Kane's an easy pick. Son's an easy pick. Should I pick a defender, another midfielder? And then we're kind of like, what do we pick? So, would you pick any of them?
So, no, none of their defenders. So, yeah, if you do want triple Spurs, the only way I see of doing it, and I'm not even saying it's necessarily a good idea because save points aren't that, pretty scarce, and Spurs aren't playing that well defensively at the minute. However, if I had to go for a Spurs defender, it would actually be their goalkeeper and not any of their defenders, because if you look at Spurs, Reguilon's injured. Again, butchering the name like always. So, yeah, I'd go Lloris out of any of them, but then, you could make an argument that there's cheaper keepers out there with, there's Martinez who you're going to want, but maybe Martinez and Lloris on a bench boost, but then you've got 2 keepers in 29 that is unnecessary. So yeah, and then like people like Dyer hasn't got a goal or assist this season. Alderweireld's minutes have been pretty sketchy. Didn't play against City. So yeah, Auria's got a knock, Reguilon's out, Davies hasn't got an attacking return and seems to lose his place.
Do you know who I wouldn't pick? But who looked interesting at 0.1%. And this is going to be one of those John calls, okay?
Go on.
Eric Lamela. I'm not picking him, and I do not recommend anyone picks him. Please don't pick Lamela, but I'm just saying, he looked half decent in the last game I seen him play. That's all I'm saying. Don't pick him.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, he hasn't played much this season. He's played the first time he's started 2 games in a row this season has been the last 2 games. So it looks like he's fought his way back into the side.
Like,
and
run a
just
mile,
runs the
don't
season.
touch him. Probably shouldn't even mention him in an FPL podcast. But Wes, with top 20k at the minute, I'm allowed to do what I want.
You are.
Yeah,
we'll touch on our team soon as well, actually.
Yeah, we're both
after
doing
the questions.
Okay. But yeah, sorry, I completely bought it in. But bottom line for me is I'm looking to be getting in 2 Spurs. I'd take 3 if I could, but there's no one else I want, so I'm not going to. I think Ndombele looks like a cracking player, but there's a cracking player and there's a cracking FPL player, and he's certainly not the latter.
Yeah.
So
yeah, agree with all that 100%. And yeah, don't think there's any defenders. If you're adamant about the triple up, maybe Lloris. But again, I don't love him as FPL pick. But I think that's the only way you're going to get that triple Spurs. If you're adamant on it, it would be Lloris for me. Obviously, Kane and Son, we don't need to talk about them.
FPL, Tyler Durden. A nice Fight Club
Great name.
reference there. I actually only watched Fight Club for the first time ever about... when did I... 2 months ago?
Really?
Yeah, mid-December.
You watched it millions of times. Love it.
Do you know what? Right, I'm gonna make one of those calls, and people are gonna hate or love me. There's movies like Fight Club, Pulp Fiction. I don't know. These movies that are just so fucking crazy that it's like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah, I don't. I'm
know
with
how
you
to
on
describe
Pulp.
it.
I'm with you on Pulp Fiction, but I'm definitely not with you on Fight Club.
Like Fight Club, like I really liked it and all, but I just got it, but then started not getting it and felt lost, and then I kind of got it at the end, and I got it, and I liked it, and it was. I think when you look at it and think of the time that it was released, you know, the cinematic effects and the CGI and stuff that it used were obviously amazing for the time, and you know, it was very left. Meatloaf was in it. He was the guy with the big tits, wasn't he?
Yeah, Meatloaf was in it.
Good movie. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't regret watching it, but I wouldn't be rushing to watch it again.
Yeah, so if you disagree with John, tweet him some abuse to his account.
I'm all about it.
But no, fair enough. Yeah, it's good to. You can't just like it just because everyone else does. But I do genuinely like that. I do agree on Pulp Fiction though. Yeah, I love it.
Anyway,
back to FPL.
Yeah, is a Leeds triple up Bamford, Rafinha / defender, sustainable for Gameweek 25 through to at least 29. So
yeah,
for me, yeah, I'm really looking at this. I have Bamford, I have Dallas. I don't want to get rid of either. I've had them both for a fair bit of time. I've built up a good bit of value. Not that that's something I really care about this season, but I mean, I've had these guys half a season, and there's probably like 500,000 in Bamford. While they aren't on for the double game week in 26, they have the double in 25 to make up for it, and they're meant to be playing in 29.
Yeah.
So, and they've also got Villa, West Ham in the meantime. Chelsea's not a great fixture, but with Leeds it could be a 4-3. You never know. So I would be looking at Dallas and Bamford, and I'm going to bring in a midfielder. My sort of decision I have to make is while Rafinha seems just like a cheat code easy pick, and I love him, and I think he's an immense player, by the way. I really do. I used to watch a bit of him before he came to Leeds. But Jack Harrison, he's got 3 goals in his last 5 as well, and he looks good. So it's a Harrison-Rafinha toss-up for me.
Yeah, I saw a stat that, like, I think it was something along these lines. It might be slightly wrong, but it paints the picture anyway. It was something like from game week 13 onwards, Harrison scored maybe, I think it was 5 goals, and in that time period, no striker, and if you remember, Harrison's obviously a midfielder, no strikers even scored that amount of goals. And if you think about the quality strikers there are, so yeah, it was something along those lines. So yeah, Harrison, I agree with you on that one. He's also got a few assists this season, I believe. But yes, definitely. What was the original question again? Something about, is it sustainable? Yeah, 100%. And again, off air, John, I want to bring you up on something you said that could be a good idea of having, you know, we're both potentially, well, you're definitely wildcarding this week. I am 90% sure I am as well. So bringing in 3 leads for the on the wildcard. And like you, I've had Bamford and Dallas for a long time. Dallas is 100% the best defender to have. He's been playing in midfield. When he plays in defence, he gets forward and attacks anyway. He's scored a fair amount of goals this year and a fair amount of assists. So Dallas is definitely the defender of choice. But yeah, what you said off air, which was interesting, and I potentially like it anyway, is having, if you've got the bench boost, and obviously you want to capitalise that in week 26, having 3 Leeds players against a decent Villa team. You know, maybe you only want 2 there, so you could use your transfer and get in another double game week player. And then when it comes to 29 again, maybe bringing in that Leeds player back in. So it does use up a lot of transfers, which is something I don't usually like. But when using up transfers to capitalise on double game weeks, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's it, because we're all going to want these triple leads for 25, but then you've got Villa, West Ham, Chelsea, all of which are pretty solid teams this year. While other teams might have a decent double and then a couple of shite teams, like
and then maybe
Leicester.
Another double as well.
Do you know, like Leeds switching out Rafinha to a Barnes is probably actually the shout.
Yeah.
Probably is the shout. That's something I'm going to look at. I know there's a bit of a discrepancy, I think, there in their values, but yeah, I think that answers Tyler Durden's question. There's millions of questions here, Wes. I had one more written down, I think, but I think even more have come in since we started recording. So again, look, genuinely, thank you so much for taking the time to submit a question. It's just, it's brilliant to see the engagement, in fairness. It's just a shame we can't answer them all. Get there on Thursday night and we'll answer your question. If you were able to create a new chip in FPL, what would it do, or what chip would you remove from the game and why? We discussed this with General when he was on. Do you want to fly that one? Just quick answer, what was it again?
I think we kind of touched upon removing captaincy. It wasn't so much removing, and I think General said he'd remove all the chips and take it back to what FPL was maybe 4 years ago now, I want to say. I think we've had chips for a good 3 or 4 years, I could be wrong. Started off with an all-out attack chip, which they then changed for the free hit chip. I do like the free hit chip because it means that, you know, when a big blank game week's coming up, you don't have to like stockpile dross players just for that game week. You can kind of keep playing your FPL game and then do a 1 week thing. So possibly get rid of the triple captain, because I remember last year I was actually on the fortunate side of it. A lot of people did. There was a mini double game week with Liverpool, and Mane and Salah were both in good form, and it was Liverpool with the double. And I triple captained Salah. Some people triple captain Mane. Mane never gets injured really. He went off injured in the first game.
Didn't
play the second game. Yeah, so he had one tripled up to 3, and I had Salah with a 15-pointer, which isn't obviously, you know, groundbreaking, but it's pretty good. 15, I think it was 15, something like that. Tripled up to 45. So, you know, that's big swings there on what is essentially luck. I guess you could say Salah was the better pick because of, you know, he scores more, he assists more, he's on penalties, but you know, without that injury, who knows what Mane could have done the damage and Salah might not have. So I did feel a bit lucky on that one. And when you're already fortunate enough to be on that side of things when it's just a regular captaincy call, to then add the triple, you know, an extra score on for that player. I don't know. I don't really like the triple captain because I don't like captaincy, full stop. That, you know, if someone hits a big triple captain, then it kind of sways it unfairly on their overall rank, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think in terms of chips and stuff, what would I remove from the game? I do kind of like that idea. I think a lot of people love captaincy, and it creates a lot of engagement and a lot of people talking about their picks each week, and a lot of banter and fun comes from that. But I do think it adds an element of luck into a game which should probably be as much skill as possible. I think it just adds another variable. So yeah, the chips, well, they can help you out, whatever. I'll talk about one that I would add, and it's not that I've thought this out particularly, but it's just an interesting idea that came up, I think, from that podcast we did with General. It was like the millionaire takeover type one, where it's like for one game it's like a free hit, but you've no bank balance. You could stack it with all the big boys. Like, that's fun, but is it good for the game? I don't know. But yeah, we'll move on, I think. Wes, if you're ready. Yeah. So
just should we go on to you're probably going to say this anyway, but there's a couple of questions about captaincy, so we can kind of do a little captaincy section.
So what I have here that we need to cover is just wildcard, like rough wildcard squads, what we're doing. A lot of people will be doing that, and even if you're not into a wildcard, if you're looking to transfer people in, we'll be talking through players that might be good to think about for the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks. Captaincy, in fact, I can polish this one off now. All I wanted to do was just reiterate to people that the Champions League's back and the Europa League's back. We've referenced it once or twice. Just be aware of it. Rotation's going to come back in those premium teams, and watch out for injuries midweek. We've been saying it all season. Make your transfers late in the game week. It's even more important now. That's all I'll say. That's that little thing scratched out. We were going to just cover our teams and our position. That'll only take us a couple of minutes. We don't want to bore people. And then we've actually, I'm going to throw in a nice little deep analogy that we talked about on WhatsApp earlier in the week. We're going to close the show with that, Wes.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
So, do you want to go captaincy or wildcard first?
Let's touch upon wildcard, just because we're both going to be doing it, and maybe on our Thursday night stream we can actually be a bit more visual, can't we, and actually pull up. Yeah. We can actually build a squad on screen, which is a nice, fun thing to do. But at the minute, you're 100% committed to it. I am just 90%, and that's only because hopefully the fixtures do get announced this week, and if there's some curveballs in there, and if I get lucky in terms of my actual current setup, I might be able to be in a good position without the wild card, but that's pretty unlikely. So I will almost certainly be wildcarding. But yeah, I don't know how you want to. Do you want to like talk through a whole 15 squad, or is that going to be too long?
Well, I'll just come straight out of the bat and say I'm definitely having gone into 25. Wait there, let me just check this. Have I got this wrong? No, going into 25. So my wild card for Gameweek 25, which is obviously planning ahead to 26. I'm going to have the 3 leads for 25. Probably take one of them out for 26.
Yeah.
Probably Rafinha. I'm going to have triple Villa. They have the double. I already have 2 of them. I'm going to throw another one in. And I'm definitely going to have Kane and Son.
Yeah.
Outside that, it's kind of up in the air.
Yeah. So I agree with all that. I'd definitely get Martinez in because he's definitely the best keeper this year. And they've got, like you said, you want Villa players because of their double, and then they hopefully play in blank 29. So yeah, I'll be looking at players like Martinez. I touched on Areola earlier. I like him. It means you've got 2 playing keepers, and again they potentially might double. Blah blah blah. But again, this can change over the days as the fixtures get announced. Then in defence, I'd possibly get in the likes of a target type player if I don't want to get a Grealish. Maybe Diaz, Cancelo. Maybe I'll try and squeeze in an expensive City mid, but I'd probably want Son, Salah, Gundogan, assuming his injury isn't too bad. And then also the likes of Luke Shaw's a really good option at the minute. They'll have a double. He's cheap-ish, only 5 mil. Maybe Rudiger.
I've seen people, fantasy football community, Holly Shan, she's been sniffing around Rudiger. I've seen her draft, and yeah, she had Rudiger in it.
Yeah, the good thing about Rudiger is he looks like he obviously wasn't playing under Frank. Now he's pretty nailed under Tuchel, and he's only 4.6 million. Chelsea keeping clean sheets. And I guess in the past, has he had some attacking threat? I'm not too sure. He did almost in the game. Obviously, it's Tuesday, so the Monday night football game, he was sort of close to grabbing the assist or the goal for Timo Werner's goal. He kind of tapped in the rebound, but it was already over the line. So I guess that shows that he's getting in the box from corners, and he might get you a goal that way.
Speaking of resurging Chelsea defenders, Marcus Alonso, an old FPL favourite, back in the 2017-2018 season, he had 7 goals, 2 assists. The year after, 2 goals, 8 assists. He had a couple of big years.
Yeah.
In the last 4 games, he has scored 28 points.
Yeah, and he's another one that he was out in the cold under Frank. Now he seems to be the left wing back of choice, but I do still fear for rotation there. So apparently Tuchel, you probably know more about Tuchel, but he likes playing with a big squad. He has a big squad at Chelsea. If you see their bench yesterday, it was insanely good. And therefore, virtually all their assets I'm kind of wary of, apart from I don't think he's going to rotate someone like Rudiger. Is Ben Chilwell going to sit on the bench every single game this season, or will he and Alonso rotate? Therefore, as much as we love Alonso, I don't think we can go there, in my opinion. I could get proved wrong, and maybe he does play every single game. I don't know, but it seems like too much of a risk for myself, a risk-averse player. Strikers I want to touch upon actually. Just Danny Ings has got a double this game week. Back on form with a goal in the cup. Back on form with a goal in the really good goal in the league in the game just gone. A volley. I don't know if you've seen that goal, John. It was a volley from a Stuart Armstrong cross. Really good goal.
See it, no.
Try and catch that. It was a really nice goal.
I actually watched a lack of football during the weekend. I've Match of the Day recorded. I should go and watch that now. Anyway.
Yeah, I've watched it all as usual. Just absolutely footballed out. But Ings, forget how good that goal was in terms of, we know what he's about. He's got double this game week for sure, so it's good. It's a good short-term transfer regardless. Then there's talk of Villa getting maybe 3 double game weeks on the bounce, so it would be like 25, 26 and 27. Again, it's all kind of speculation. Might not happen. If it doesn't happen, I guess it's kind of, if you leave a bit of money in the bank, you can then go Ings to Kane for his double. So that might be something I do on the wild card. I don't usually, so it's not a usual season obviously with these sort of doubles coming up. Usually I don't like to pen in transfers, but this season I'm willing to make exceptions with the likes of, like you said, maybe getting rid of a Leeds player, and maybe even the week after. So week 26 will be the week after our wild card. I'd be happy to even pen in a -4 of, if Ings doesn't get his double, go up to Kane, and then, like you said, tweak out one of the Leeds players, and then maybe bring one of the Leeds players back in. I don't know. Maybe I'll have other fires to put out and it won't happen. But yeah, I could actually see myself doing that this year. Normally with a wild card, my aim is to save a transfer in the following week, because you should be able to set up for at least 2 weeks. But yeah, this season's just different, so you have to adapt and be willing to take those hits if they're going to pay off with big double game week scores.
I'm sitting here stressing over my team. Let me just do this little rejiggle while you talk there to the punters, and I think I have a draft on.
All right.
You're like, what do I say to the punters? Right, I'll talk you through it. So I'm just having a bit of a funds nightmare here, but I'm very, very close to having a very sexy draft. If I take Ward Prowse instead of Ings, yes, Wes, we've got it. Right. This is controversial. This is a first draft. Are you ready?
Go for it.
We've got Martinez and Areola in goal, because I can afford to have the second keeper for the bench boost. Yeah. Loughton is staying. He's obviously got the double.
Yeah.
Then we've got Salah. I'm going to keep him. Rafinha's coming in. He might be going out again. And I'll have 0.6 in the bank. Maybe to upgrade to, oh God, what's Barnes? 6.8. Oh, maybe the -4 will help me with that. Anyway, yeah. Rafinha.
Let's do your draft on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll do a proper one on Thursday.
Yeah.
Fernandes, Son, Bamford, Kane, Watkins.
Yeah, nice.
But I've only gone 2 City there is the only issue. But I just think with all the uncertainty, I could actually go sell it at Sterling and then take that extra money and maybe keep that in the bank for Rafinha to Barnes down the line. Anyway.
Yeah, that could work.
Or maybe a Salah and Rafinha to Barnes and Sterling got into the double. That works. That actually works. Okay, that's where I'm sitting, Wes.
I like it.
Have you any thoughts? Have you got a rough draft or rough players that are different than mine that you're definitely thinking of?
No, not really. I kind of just said kind of my draft a minute ago. So should we move on to sort of captaincy this week?
Yep, sounds good. So if that was my team, who would I captain? Well, going into next week, you have to captain one of the doublers, don't you? You have to captain a Southampton or Leeds player. For me, it's probably going to be Bamford.
Yeah.
So
again for me, so we had questions like sort of Bamford versus Ings. A lot of people are touting Bamford / Rafinha / Ings. I think just for reliableness this season, I think probably Bamford. Southampton are playing a bit hit and miss at the minute. I do like Ings as an option, but with the way they're playing, they've lost a fair. They got spanked by Man United, didn't they? They've just lost against Wolves. I know Ings scored, so that doesn't really matter for FPL, but if the team confidence is down and they have a game where they don't score a goal and then maybe they only score one goal in the next one, then you're kind of limited with what Ings can get. Whereas with Bamford, or to be fair, Rafinha / Harrison, Leeds could just score. They can score 4 goals in any game. I'm very confident in that. Even against Arsenal, they got battered 4-0. They come back and score 2 goals. Okay, it wasn't really the FPL assets getting many of the points, but it just shows that Leeds can just score goals. So I think I want a captain from a team that scores a lot of goals. If they score him, Bamford could get back-to-back braces or something and get a really big score. So, yeah, I'm likely to go Bamford. Would I go Rafinha over Bamford? I don't think so. So I think Bamford's the main choice there. Bamford.
Yeah, I think Bamford's the obvious choice. He's where mine is. Like I always say this each week, and it's horrible. Hopefully it never happens. But if I died now, the captaincy is on Bamford.
Yeah.
Albeit the wild card hasn't been played. So maybe you'll have to do that for me. But Bamford would be my captain.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be upset about that.
Yeah.
I can understand the Rafinha for the extra point, for the goal in midfield. He's looked great. He's getting returns every week at the minute. Dallas is playing really, really advanced.
Yeah.
He had a -1. I'm not going to pick Dallas, but I'd say there'll be some crazy bastards who do. And do you know what? I wouldn't hold it against them.
No, and if you look at the game... Was it the game before that? He got a 12-pointer, an assist and 3 bonus points and a clean sheet. And Leeds, as much as they've conceded a lot of goals this year, but considering how many they've conceded, they've had games where they've got a fair amount of clean sheets. We associate Leeds with conceding lots of goals, but they've still got, I think, 7 clean sheets. So they're kind of... I think the commentator said it on Sky the other day. They're kind of a feast or famine team. They blow teams away or they get spanked like they did at Arsenal, conceding 4. So there's a risk of there with Dallas. But like you said, he's an attacking defender who might get a clean sheet. If he gets a clean sheet plus an attacking return, that's just bonus points. And we've seen someone like Loughton, you wouldn't have expected a 15-pointer there, but he's already on 15 points with another game to go. So he's likely to, or he could, outscore Gundogan this week, who obviously got a monumental score. So, don't write off defenders, especially in double game weeks. Looking at the fixtures in a bit more detail as well, Southampton have Chelsea, obviously playing very well defensively and attacking at the minute under Tuchel. And then they have Leeds, who again are doing well. So I currently have McCarthy in my team, but even if I didn't wildcard, I'd probably still play Pope, who's my second keeper, because they have, and I very rarely do that. I always love to pick double game with players, but yeah, I just don't trust Southampton for clean sheets in those fixtures. Chelsea, Leeds, maximum one clean sheet there for me, if any. But Leeds fixtures are Wolves, who aren't defensively sound this season, and Wolves and Southampton. So Leeds fixtures are much better than Southampton. So, if you're considering Ings versus Bamford, all roads sort of lead to Bamford for me.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's the safe bet. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And the old Ings pick could be explosive, and it could be the pick, and there is a chance. But I think if we're looking at this from the bookmakers' odds standpoint, Bamford is probably, and I don't have the stats in front of me, Bamford, based on goal scoring odds and whatever, I would actually bet my left nut on it now without looking, that Bamford is the safer pick here.
Yeah, exactly. And with all these types of things, like some people went Sterling captain over Gundogan this week, just gone. It wasn't necessarily the wrong decision, but so far it hasn't paid off. Who knows what happens in the second game of this double game week? But it's hard with captaincy. It's hard to know which player will definitely outscore X versus Y. It's very hard to call. You've just got to try and play it, have some logic behind your choices, and then if Ings outscores Bamford this week, I'll still be happy that I captained Bamford, because I'll feel like I made the right decision. It's when you actually look back and think, actually, I've made a mistake there, I've made the wrong decision, that's when it annoys me.
Do you know what's actually beautiful to see here, just before we move on to talk about our teams?
Yeah.
Gundogan and the purple patch he's having. It's lovely to see.
Yeah.
It is really nice to see. Like, this is a guy, don't actually know what age he is. Look, eyeballing him, I'd say he's probably 28, 29.
No, not sure, actually.
Let's go look him up. Wonder what age old Gundo is.
Yeah, you find that and I'll just talk through, people probably already know.
He's 30.
30, yeah. But he's got 11 goals, 2 assists in the last 12 games. Before then, his minutes were patchy. He wasn't an attacking midfielder at that point. Then all of a sudden, Gameweek 13 comes into the team and just, goes on this amazing attacking run. Back-to-back braces against Liverpool and Tottenham as well, so traditionally hard fixtures. 2 goals at Anfield, and he missed a pen, so if he scores that, maybe a hat-trick. Then he gets 2 goals against Spurs, even though he only plays 68 minutes because he obviously got injured. And obviously the assist against Spurs because he got fouled for the pen. So, if he doesn't get injured against Spurs, he might even get another attacking return. So, he's kind of getting returns that you'd associate with. These are Aguero returns for a 5.8 or whatever he is. Well, he's 6.1 now. He's gone up so much, but a 6.1 million midfielder getting Aguero type returns.
It's mad. But what I like about it is he was always a solid player. Whenever he came on, he would always have a goal. Not that he had a goal in him every game, but he would score a goal every so often. He'd be on penalties. At Dortmund, he was a bit part player. Kind of the same as City. Sub appearances, coming on, grabbing a goal a few times a season. The most goals he's ever scored in a season was actually 18-19 with City. He had 6.
Yeah.
But he's already got 11 this year. It's just nice to see because he seems like a nice guy. But
hopefully his injury is not too bad.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It'd be nice to see him. I'd love to see him and De Bruyne both fitting in that team somehow.
Yeah, they will. They did before his injury. They'll both play together when
with
De
Rodri
Bruyne's back, I'm sure. Yeah,
that'd be nice. That's lethal actually in terms of a team. But
yeah,
we'll move on just to talk about our teams quickly and then wrap this up, Wes. Yeah.
Sounds good.
So I'll take it away if you don't mind, just because I'm here. I made the transfer to bring in Pope and Cavani for my I think it was Forster, and I got rid of Calvert-Lewin. That was it.
Yeah.
The Cavani one, the punt didn't pay off. He scuffed a couple of shots, but look, it was always just a 1 week punt because I knew it was wildcarding. Martinez stuck on the bench, going for the Pope with a double. Pope just needs 4 points to make that not a bad decision against Fulham. Hopefully he gets a few saves. Could get a clean sheet, could get another 8-pointer, you never know. So anyway, they were my transfers. So at the minute I'm sitting on 95 points. I've still got Stones, Cancelo, Loughton and Gundogan. Probably 2 of them will play. But I'm up to 19k. I peaked at about 14k.
Nice.
But Antonio didn't play. I have Souček coming off the bench, which is a shame. Number 1. I have Cresswell behind him, which was a mistake. But it could have been worse because of Dallas on the bench, 3rd slot with a -1.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm sitting.
So you're probably actually a little bit higher than you think as well because of those 3 bench points coming in which isn't huge, but it will probably bump you up a little bit. Obviously, some other people will have maybe better scores coming in for Antonio, but yeah, I do predict that you'll go up maybe. What did you say you were at the minute?
19k.
19k, very good. You probably go up to 17k maybe and obviously you've got players to play tonight, so yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see you around maybe top 14k come the end of the game week, but yeah,
Hopefully.
that'd be interesting to see.
I'm actually excited with, not to go on too much about myself and be all self-indulgent, but I'm in a position now where I've obviously, this is the highest rank I think I've ever had. Now maybe whenever I used to play FPL and not care, there might have been a week or two where I got this sort of high and then fell off.
Yeah.
But last season was the first season I kind of took it seriously, listened to a lot of content, planned somewhat around like chips and stuff, and I hit 50k overall. I'm sitting at 19 now. I'm wildcarding into a week with 2 double game week teams that I'm going to have at least 3 or 4 players from, and then I'm optimizing for a bench boost in 26. I'm hoping I can be top K in the next 3 weeks. That's what I'm hoping, and then it's about retaining that rank and not bombing in 29 and just trying to see out the rest of the season. So it's exciting.
Yeah, no, you've done really well this season. Like you said, last season was pretty decent as well. Was it about 52k, 53k for yourself?
Something like that, yeah.
Which is it's a very good rank, and I think, like you said, because we spoke about this off air, didn't we? Like, you're very knowledgeable about football, but you've kind of played FPL as until last season, and obviously this season where you're big into it, kind of as a, like a lot of my mates do, it's kind of like an afterthought. They like football first, and then FPL is like secondary. Whereas with someone like myself, FPL's very much primary. Whereas now you've kind of realised that, you know, it's a lot more intricate than it seems. FPL, there's a lot more to it than kind of meets the eye, and it's not just about, you know, picking those players. It is about having that strategy. So yeah, it's top work, and you are probably about 45 points ahead of me, something like that, 50 points.
I will not talk about that, Wes. We'll leave that to the end of the season when you're getting your paintbrushes.
Yeah.
Wes,
I've caught you up a tiny bit. You're on 98 once the soy checkpoints get added. I'm on 102. So yeah, I've had a good week. Pope as well. I bought him in a couple of game weeks ago, ready for the double. Who did I bring in this week? I brought in Sterling for soy check. So yeah, hopefully, so that's worked out, I guess, so far. And hopefully Sterling can kick on and do something else if he actually plays and doesn't get rotated. Who knows with Pep. Loughton at the back. I had Loughton. I can't actually remember. I brought in Loughton when I think Burnley were meant to have the double game week, and then I think it got cancelled, their double game week, wasn't it? When I can't remember, like, you know, when I think Fulham had the coronavirus problem, or I can't actually remember. I could be completely wrong on that.
Yeah, you have mentioned him a few times on the pod, though, in fairness to you, and I think you actually mentioned him as recently as last week before this. So, and
you know, if you actually watch the highlights, or if you'd watch that game against Crystal Palace, or even look at the stats, he was Sky Sports even flashed up a graphic on like the 85th minute where he was joint top for shots in the game. He was made the most tackles, made the most clearances, did loads of stuff. So I was watching that game, and from corners he was kind of on the edge of the box trying to get shots away. If they fell to him, he obviously, that goal again, I don't know if you've seen it, but you should. It's really, really good. He makes an interception on the halfway line, plays a 1-2 with Rodriguez, I think it was, after taking on 2 or 3 players and like bossing one of them off the ball, and then on the volley, top corner pretty much. So yeah, really, really nice return there. Sort of lucky, you know, to be fair. I would have expected, if you just said to me before the game who's more likely to score, Ben Mee or Loughton, I would have said Ben Mee because he has got a goal from a corner in him. But, you know, sometimes that happens in FPL, so I'll take that portion of luck. Cancelo and Kufal did well, clean sheets. Kufal could have scored actually for West Ham, really went through on goal one-on-one and then just fluffed it. Salah, Fernandes ticking over. I want to speak about those two actually. They're both obviously really expensive players. But even they kind of both do the same thing. I feel like when their teams aren't playing well, or when it looks like they're not going to get anything, they still kind of come up with the goods. Salah's let us down a fair few times with a fair few blanks. However, he's got 17 goals, 4 assists, so 21 returns. It's very good, especially his goals obviously get you the more points. And Bruno, I think, has got something like 24 returns or something. So those two, you can just play them in any game. They're going to get returns. Over the course of the season, they'll be their top 2 point scorers, aren't they? So you can't lose faith with these guys even when like their teams aren't playing well. I know we sort of touched upon it earlier, and you know there is definitely a good argument for removing Salah, but you can't remove Salah and then moan about it if he scores points, because he's proven over the course of the season that he's done that. Gundogan was my captain. I did think about Sterling, but Gundogan was the better choice in my opinion, and it just worked out. Won't dwell on that. But yeah, I was very happy watching that game. Especially when Sterling assisted him. And again, in the first half as well, could have had another goal. Lookman blanked, fairly unlucky there. Like I said, I'm not that keen on... There's better assets in Fulham now, in my opinion. However, Lookman in that game set up 2 chances that end up hitting the post, so very close to an assist. And he had a shot inside the box that he should have done better with from 7 yards out. So out of those 3 actions, you'd expect at least one of them to end up in attacking returns for you, but didn't happen. And Bamford and Watkins up top, who both blanked. But again, relatively happy with my team, which is why I was kind of trying to hold off on the wild card. And if the fixtures fell my way, then maybe going with it. But yeah, as I've got the bench boost left, I do really want to attack that bench boost, and I can't see it landing that I'm going to have be able to have a really good bench boost, even if I do get lucky with the fixtures. So yeah, I'm 95% wildcarding.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how both our wildcards go and how much they differ, if at all.
Yeah. One last thing, just my rank before, can't remember what it is now. At the minute, as we're speaking halfway through the game week, gone from around 145k, something like that, just currently 78k. So obviously not where I want to be, 78k, but at this stage of the season, wildcard, bench boost left, triple captain left, and hoping just to kick on in general. My aim is now, top 10k, which I'd be really happy with. Top 20k, I'd again be happy with, but yeah, going to aim for the top 10k.
And just to kind of wrap up the show, we were chatting in voice messages during the week on a wee analogy that was kind of thrown out there, and I think it's quite pertinent in weeks like this.
Yeah.
Where, this episode's been heavy with double game week and blank talk, and a lot of sort of referencing people, all the blanks and chances of doubles and chances of this and that. And some people might be thinking, for God's sake, I just want to pick players and stick a team out.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But look, if you're here taking the time to listen to an FPL podcast, something's telling me you want to improve your rank.
Yeah.
And the analogy is kind of this. It's like you go down to the pub with your mate and you just want to play a game of pool. There's always that guy who can just pop balls for fun, but inevitably he snookers himself because he leaves the white in the cushion, or he just smashes the ball in and the white goes round and ends up touching one of your balls and he can't get out of the position.
Yeah.
FPL can be like that, where you can go and you can pick guys who hit big scores, but at the end of the day you're fucked when the doubles come round or the blanks come round.
Yeah.
Or you burn your wild card too early, or you do this and you just wreck your season. And while you might be great at picking players, you're going to end up 250k.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
You can be pretty good at picking players, but you strategize ahead, you put a bit of spin on the white. You position the white ball after you make the pot, and you get yourself into the best position to get the most points possible. And that's what FPL is. So weeks like this, while they can be heavy in terms of the planning and in terms of the talking 4 or 5 weeks ahead of time, if you aren't thinking about 26 and 29 now, you're probably going to end up losing rank, which inevitably means losing positions in your mini leagues and losing a war. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so when you told me that analogy, I really liked it, and it really sort of resonated with me. And also, just to touch on that, like you said, you kind of said it's a difficult time of the year, and I'm not 100% set on my players yet, but just take the time, look at this, like I said, go to our Twitter and look at that retweet, look at the graphic in it, and then have your team maybe use your phone and a laptop or an iPad or something and have your team up and then the fixtures on a separate screen, so you can actually see, right, what have I got in the doubles as things stand, how many players have I got in the doubles, am I happy with that, yes or no, how many transfers do I need to achieve that, okay, I've got 2 free transfers this week, plus I'll have one obviously each week in the next few weeks, so you can strategize that way. And then look at week 29, okay, if I go big for the doubles now, will I still have good enough players? Well, yes, if I target the teams that we've spoke about already, the likes of your Spurs, your Villas, possibly Fulham, possibly Leeds, that sort of thing. So it's tough, but just take some time over it and do it. And like you said, then if you do that, you're going to achieve a good overall rank. And that's how I always, another kind of little sort of tip to some people, a lot of people focus on their mini leagues, and that's fine because it is it's at the end of the day, it is more important to win your mini leagues in terms of bragging rights and stuff like that. But how I do well in my mini leagues is I just forget about them and I actually try and achieve the highest overall rank I possibly can, because I think that's the best strategy to then win the mini leagues. If you try and tailor it to, I'm 50 points behind my leader in my mini league and he's got Kane, so therefore I'm not going to get him. If Kane ends up smashing it, you're going to lose points you're going to lose out to this guy anyway, and then you're going to have a bad overall rank. So yeah, just try and get the best overall rank you can do, and if that ends up winning your mini leagues, then great.
Well, Wes, I think that's it for this week. So make sure to come. If you enjoyed this, you might be listening to this actually after we've done the stream, but the stream will be available to watch anyway on the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Just search Fantasy Football Hub, you'll find it. We're streaming at 8 p.m. on Thursday. That's Thursday the 18th, I believe. And yeah, like and subscribe. Well, like if you're watching this on YouTube, like if you're listening to this on podcast, please subscribe and leave us a review. The review's big. It takes literally 10 seconds of your time. You just go to the podcast page, scroll to the bottom, hit the 5 stars, done. You'll really help us out. And other than that, I suppose, download Fanslide. The link is in the description of this podcast. As we said at the start, there's the 3 fixtures coming up, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all with cash on the line. It's free to play. Download the app and let us know how you get on. Wes, have you any parting comments?
No, that was all perfect. Like you said, yeah, it's going to be a regular occurrence now on Fantasy Football Hub, so yeah, look out for that. Information will come in tweets, but it's usually going to be a Thursday at 8 p.m. And like John said, yeah, just go, please give us a 5-star review. Like John said, takes a few seconds of your time. It helps us out. Share us on, shout us out on Twitter. Share us in your WhatsApp groups. All that stuff. Help us grow. And we'll be able to continue bringing you good stuff, hopefully.
Absolutely. Well, look, have a great week, and we'll chat to you soon.
Cheers, guys.